When you start writing your MBA and Master's application essay drafts, the first thing that you have to figure out is how much writing is enough. For a 250 to 500 word essay, do you have to write 700 or 1000 or even 2000 words? What is the process of writing a winning application essay? It depends on three scenarios. The first scenario is your writing experience. I was in the technology industry before starting F&GMAT and pivoting to writing, consulting, and editing services. So I empathize with engineers and bankers who are struggling to capture their authentic voice. Even before starting F&GMAT, I used to have a popular blog. People who I didn't even expect to read it used to read my posts. And when I entered the office, they would come personally and appreciate my observations. Like me, if you have any writing experience from writing blogs to journals to essays for a school magazine, you don't have to worry about writing 2000 words for a 250 to 500 word essay. But if you have no experience in writing, you have to seriously think about volume goals. When clients reach out to me, the first request they have for me is to write lines for them. I immediately share a perspective that you should also be aware of. Schools read essays in hundreds. They are aware of essays that are written by professional writers. Editing and helping clients with essays is different from writing essays. In F&GMAT's editing process, I do add a few phrases and lines that improve the applicant's expressions, but most of the writing is done by the applicant. It is the line-by-line comments that help them understand the fundamentals of storytelling. If you need my help, reach out through F&GMAT's contact form at store.fngmat.com/contact-fngmat or email me directly at editor@fngmat.com. For applicants from a marketing background or those who have some experience writing, there are a few volume goals that you have to keep in mind. First, for a 250-word essay, use a 2x target or a 500-word draft as your volume goal. This is because many times when you first start writing a school application essay, you're just exploring one thought and it might not cover all the bases. As a new writer, when you explore one thought, you'll write a lot of backstory around that one event. If you go by some strict word limit while drafting your essay, you might not fully capture the emotions and motivation around that one event. For a 500-word essay, the target word count should be somewhere between 1000 to 1200 words. Now, why do you need such kind of a structure? Isn't it better just to write freely? Even I have recommended writing freely, but over the years, what I've seen is that if you write freely without any word limit, you start bringing context and irrelevant events into the narrative. Then it becomes a big challenge to come back into a frame of mind where you're writing authentically from a core emotion. I've always seen scenarios where the client felt that one childhood event was critical for the development of their worldview. So they would suggest to me that we should spend a lot of words on that one particular event. The risk when you allocate most of your words to one event in draft essays is that what you consider to be unique might not be unique. Your competitors might also quote similar events. An experienced consultant and editor like me have seen this happen quite a lot. For example, during the pandemic, the underlying theme for all applicants was how they were useful when the world was shut down. The narrative was fine-tuned to make themselves the hero. And to be honest, from the 10 to 15 essays, I would say 2 to 3 were genuine contributions. The rest were all just trying to brand themselves as heroes in a catastrophic world event. If you go into the writing process with such a preconceived notion of which event has better branding, you will waste your time on the wrong event. In some applicants, there is a lack of self-awareness. I worked with a client who was doing incredible cross-cultural collaboration in 3 time zones. And when I asked her to write about inclusivity, she shortlisted a college collaboration that felt too trivial. I had to be diplomatic in revealing that what she cited didn't match the first impression the admissions team would have about her. The example didn't match up to her image. All the examples in your essays should match that first impression. The second scenario where you have to think about volume goals is your writing style. I work with clients who are extremely careful not to express too much. They are measuring how they structure each sentence. This is good if you have experience in writing. This is what I do. I use a one paragraph writing, one paragraph editing strategy where I write one paragraph freely, read it back 2 to 3 times, and then ask myself, is it too revealing? Is it too emotional? Is it relevant to my audience? Once I'm certain about the answers, I edit and finalize that paragraph. It works for me, but my case is different. I've been writing and editing every day for the past 15 plus years. There's a certain skill set you acquire when you write for over 15 years. If paragraph based writing, editing, and finalizing work for you, use it as your primary strategy. But I've also worked with clients who had the potential, but they were too self critical to write freely. They wanted to highlight something horrific that happened in their life to offer some context on what they overcame. And they don't know whether to overshare with a consultant and editor like me, or should they sanitize the version for the essay. For such applicants who are traumatized, even recalling those horrible moments, avoid writing it in your MBA or master's essay. There are other ways to demonstrate vulnerability and show your resilience. If you need help capturing the right emotions for your essays, reach out to me, Atul Jose, at editor@fngmat.com. Then there are applicants who are perfectionists. I work with a lawyer who was eager to do word limit editing by the third iteration of essay writing itself, even worrying about punctuations and transitions while missing out on capturing an interesting aspect of his childhood. He overcame tremendous financial setbacks and became a high value lawyer. There were so many interesting emotional elements to his story that he didn't explore. Whenever you work with consultants and editors, think of ways in which you can at least list out struggles from your life early on in the editing process. Once both the applicant and consultant agree on a narrative, it's tough and costly to ask the consultant to strategize and re-edit the entire narrative. That's why FNG Match Essay Editing Service, I have something called the Impact Table, where I ask all clients to write down their key life, professional, extracurricular, and volunteering experience in a spreadsheet. This process helps us capture every relevant detail in one document. If you are working with me, be open about capturing every important milestones and life events in your impact table. This is the most critical aspect of the collaboration. The third scenario on finding the right volume goal depends on the kind of question you're answering. If the question is about your strengths and the word limit is 250 words, what is the process of capturing all your strengths? Should you write just about your professional accomplishments and strengths you demonstrated? Or should you go into your interpersonal skills or skills in sensing discomfort in others, or your communication skills in connecting with people from different backgrounds, income groups, and cultures? What is considered an ideal set of skills for an MBA or master's application? You can't pre-plan and then focus on the word limit in your first draft. Instead of that, consider 3 contexts: professional, community, and interpersonal. The professional strength should be highly relevant to your post-MBA or post-master's goals. If you're applying to a high emotional quotient school like Stanford, you must demonstrate empathy and a level of expertise that is not just functional but cultural as well. Those who travel and collaborate internationally tend to have a much better way of managing a global team than, let's say, someone who works remotely and is confined to one particular location. Every learning in our life is experiential. There is no way around it. The more you write about experiential learning in different contexts and cultures, the more persuasive your essays will be. So, to summarize, number 1, target 750 to 1000 words in your draft for a 250 to 500 word essay if you have some writing experience. Number 2, target 2000 words in your draft for a 250 to 500 word essay if you're writing essays for the first time. For any help with brainstorming, shortlisting examples, and editing your essays, contact me, Atul Jose, at editor@fngmat.com. Or you may use FNGMat's contact form at store.fngmat.com/contact-fngmat.